Good afternoon, everyone. To begin with, I would like everyone to close their eyes and imagine themselves outside hiking. You're hiking through the woods and imagine yourself surrounded by tall pine trees and the warmth of the sun upon you. There's squirrels, deer, and other animals off in the distance, and you can hear the wind blowing softly through the trees. You're feeling calm and enjoying the beauty of untouched nature. Then, a black bear and its cubs come up on you, and they're running and chasing you down the mountain. You can open up your eyes now. I figured that would catch your attention. Basically, that was an example of the different experiences one can have hiking the Appalachian Trail. Granted, black bears on the trail are extremely rare to have attacks, but the trail covers 14 states, and there's a vast amount of adventure involved. Also, I'm fast, but I would hate to be in a foot race with a black bear. The Appalachian Trail is one of the most popular and most hiked trails in the world. So all over. And if you look here, the Appalachian Trail will go all the way from Georgia all the way up to Maine. So it covers a vast amount of states on the East Coast. The hike involves many different types of terrain, weather conditions, and ways to complete it. I myself have experienced hiking on the Appalachian Trail in Virginia and North Carolina. I also hiked on trails in other countries, and then as well on the East Coast and the West Coast of the United States. My goal with this speech is to educate you more on hiking the Appalachian Trail. Due to the fact that the Appalachian Trail covers 14 different states, the environment can differ greatly along the trail. Writer Mark Boyer, in his guide to hiking on the Appalachian Trail, describes how the trail goes back and forth between rocky mountain types and then down to flat farmland. The trail goes from Georgia to Maine, and the forests can differ from deciduous to coniferous. You'll see a vast variety of different types of trees, leaves, and then as well as pine cones. All that can vary along your walk through the trail. Because the alternating terrain, there's a different amount of animals that can be found when hiking on the trail. Mark Boyer also lists in his guide some of the animals that you're likely to come across. Those can include rabbits, chipmunks, squirrels, frogs, lizards, and plenty of different types of birds, much like sometimes you'll see around the surrounding area where we're at right now. Animals that he mentions that you will run into, that you should be on a lookout for, and sometimes you might not, but those are black bears, mountain lions, and moose. The hiking shelters and camps along the trail leave food that attracts the bears and can lead to unwanted encounters. And it's not just the bears or the terrain that hikers should know. The weather is key too. Weather conditions are important to be aware of when hiking on the Appalachian Trail. This is because the trail covers such a large amount and can be accessed year-round. It's important to know the key weather facts about the different trails, the different states on those trails. According to the Washington Post, Georgia and southern North Carolina part of the trail covers temperate rainforests and can accumulate up to 100 inches of rain annually, and sometimes more at its highest peaks. Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, which is known for being very humid in the summer, has recorded temperatures as high as 107 degrees Fahrenheit. New Hampshire is known for its hurricane-force winds along its top peaks, and then Maine is covered in deep snow if you're there hiking in the winter. So if you're not aware of your surroundings and don't pick the right gear to go hiking with, you could risk having hypothermia, or getting a heat stroke. Thunderstorms and high winds have been known to injure or lead to deaths on the trail. The risk of exposed ridgelines and hiking above the tree line also makes you a target for lightning. Also, the high winds have been known to push down trees on top of people hiking underneath. Jason Parrish in 2015 was killed on the Appalachian Trail when hiking in Maryland, and one of the trees fell down on him. This was reported by the Tennessean, and unfortunately, because the Appalachian Trail covers so many different jurisdictions, they do not have any comprehensive records showing the number of injuries or deaths that have occurred along the trail. The good thing though is that people hiking on the Appalachian Trail are rare to get injured or lead to death. That doesn't happen that much. but they do have to remain cautious of their area. So if they're cautious, one thing they can do too is be careful about how they pick to do the hike. So they're able to through hike, or they can take sections. The people that choose to through hike on the trail, they have to do the whole trail at one time, and they begin north or south. They must hike 2,184 miles and must complete the trek in 6 months. The decision on choosing north or south can be difficult because there's pros and cons to either one. Starting north and traveling south, well, that means that the parks are going to be open come the winter, so that's a good thing. But what they have to be on the lookout for is that on their way north, so when they start off north, there's less supply stations than there are in the south. And then those traveling south to north, they face easier terrain to begin with, but then harder terrain towards the end. That's because in the winter, the north is known to have harsher snowstorms, and then as well the winds are a lot higher. This information was gathered from backpacker.com. Those that choose to take sections on the trail will most likely take longer to complete the trail, but they also can have some benefits. One of the benefits of choosing sections is that not only do you avoid some of the crowds, but you can actually have better experiences with the weather, being able to pick different sections. The writer Mark Boyer lists on his guide that one of the popular hikers' trails to start on is starting down in Georgia at Springer Mountain and then hiking up to Harper's Ferry, West Virginia. Then the hikers travel up to Maine and they begin the trail again, starting from Maine to Harper's Ferry. That's because they're avoiding a harsher winter, and then that way they're still able to complete the trail and they're avoiding less crowds. So in conclusion, the Appalachian Trail is a difficult trail, but it can also be beautiful. Those that hike the trail must prepare for weather based on the route that they take and the season. Hikers can take their time or push through in one season and travel north or south. And then also they can do it all in just one flat go. I hope everyone enjoyed learning more about the Appalachian Trail and know here in Virginia there's plenty of spots to become more familiar with it. Get out, be safe, and enjoy it. Thanks for your time.